Hello everyone, it's Eon here, and it's time to start the July 2024 Fantasy 3D Printing Review. This is for Patreons, tribes, and other STLs you can get out there on the internet that are all fantasy-based. We'll go ahead and start with Artisan Guild, and they're releasing the Black Crag Orcs. These Black Crag Orcs come in multiple variants. We see the Black Crag Shrine of Doom on the right, and on the left we see Goradrash, plus a Black Crag Manticore. I think I was accurate in my prediction of what that was. They have some alternative weapons and fists that you can apply. Here we see a Mountain Orc with a variant as well. We have a couple more Black Crag Mountain Orcs. And a couple more. Thorgar, the Chainbreaker King, along with an alternative version of him, and another Black Crag Orc. These are Ape Fiend Riders. These are Ape Fiends, these creatures here. Some come without a rider, some come with. Whichever way you want to model these. Some of these guys have 4 arms, some have 2 apparently. We have Luxabar Doombringer, some sort of shaman, and then we have a Vestra Black Crag Shaman. That comes with a alternative version as well. Next up we have Arbiter Miniatures. Now they are leaving Patreon for the moment. They're trying to redo their Patreon, so if you want to support them you need to go over to My Mini Factory. But they're doing kobolds for this month, so just to kind of show off a few kobolds that they have. And this is the same miniature, just from multiple directions. Next up, we have Archvillain Games that does both fantasy and sci-fi. Archvillain Games is doing Orc Legacy, so if you didn't get enough orcs from Artisan Guild, you can check out Archvillain as well. This is the Wrath of the Grimscorn. Korgoral Bodaluk. Huge miniature. You'll notice he's got several others riding behind him as well. We have a Gaun Beast Rider. I'm not sure what a Gaun is, but I would be terrified to face that. We have Kotar on the left and a Vormog Witch on the right. We have War Chief Azrakal, as well as Askalar Warseeker. I'm probably butchering these names, Archvillain, and I apologize. And then Nasahir the Mask. So they have their Archvillain Society, which I believe is basically code for, hey, you should use these as RPG characters, as miniatures, that sort of thing. Here we have Korgoral Gorogs in 4 sculpts. We have a Nakjuka, which I guess is a shaman type or witch type character, in 4 different sculpts. We have a Korgoral Varrock. Very thick, hefty fellas. This one on the left has lost a hand, but he's still in it. And then we have the Gut Spillers. Now I do want to point out, if you watch my preview video and then you come back and watch this, they have changed the sculpts of the Gut Spillers. And it took me a minute to realize what they had done. Now, these are amazing sculpts, and I didn't think the sculpts before were bad, but I'm not sure what their reasoning is behind that. So if you're interested in that, I just thought it was interesting to point out. Here we have the Korgoral Wargok, which is apparently a mounted unit. And these come in 4 sculpts, as is typical with Archvillain Games. Next up we have Bite the Bullet. Bite the Bullet is doing the Dungeon Underdark this month, and here's basically a preview of everything you get for this month. They are also doing a throwback as well, so they do a pretty good job. A lot of Patreons that have been around for a little while now are doing that, where they give you one of their older sets along with the newer set, and they're often related. This right here is a Shambling Mound or Shambler. I was thinking these were different sculpts, but I'm pretty sure these are just from different angles, and I didn't see a need to give you every single angle. Here we have some Myconoids. Now the one on the right, I believe, is a big Myconoid. Myconid. I say myconoid, but that's not really how it's spelled, is it? We have some more myconids. And some more. Definitely get some chibi vibes from these guys. Here we have some gas spores. There are 3 different sculpts for these, and here's the other gas spore as well. And then an intellect devourer, and there are 2 of those, but I only included 1 because the other just basically has like a longer tongue. If you've seen one intellect devourer, you don't ever want to see another one, in my humble opinion. No offense to Bite the Bullet, just it's a brain with legs, isn't it? These are flumps. On the left, we have the Hook Horror, and on the right, we have a Roper. And then we have some Daros as well. I think there's about 5 of these, roughly. So I wanted to make sure you could see them easily, so we're just zooming in really quickly, really big here. A lot of nice detail on these. And then we have a Chonky Dragon. Just a huge, big, chunky guy. And then there is Zuggy, the queen of the fungi. And apparently they have a not so safe for work version of this as well, but I'm not sure how they would do that. Cast and Play is one of our perennial ones, and this was from the preview of what they showed us, and we're doing Volume 2 Townsfolk. And so now that the month is here, we can actually see everything they're releasing to us this month. And in typical Cast and Play, they will also be releasing some others as well, as in a throwback pack. So we have on the left the farmers from Minsker City. Different races, different items. And then we have the innkeepers of the Blind Cyclops. One is a tiefling, the other is bald. Lowlifes from Minsker City. And we have some blacksmith hammer sisters. The noblemen from Minsker City. And some villagers as well. I need to remember, if I don't have a current Cast and Play, I need to resubscribe. Mafia leaders from Minsker City. And noble women from Minsker City as well. I love the variations of these. All you need to do is print these off. If you have a long-running campaign, any one of these can be a character for any NPC that your characters may or may not encounter. We have some town criers, as well as some fishers. And some city bases as well. As I mentioned, they will be doing a throwback as well, so these are some other characters that Cast and Play has done in the past that kind of go along with the townsfolk NPC vibe. And some of these are from the Royal Feast, some of them are from Hawkers, the Maria, some are from the Wizard's Tower, but not all from the exact same set, but definitely worth checking out. Alright y'all, hold on tight, here we go. We're going to Epic Miniatures. We have 100 miniatures from them because they've already released update 2. So we're going to look at both updates. So we've already looked at these in the preview, but we'll go through and do these a little bit more properly. Here's update number 1, Faith Defender. So we see it in the monastery. We have 3 different sculpts of the White God Avatar. This is supposedly the embodiment of everything good. Here we have 3 versions of the Holyphant. It's a flying elephant. Here we have a Plaintar Angel. Here we have a medieval cleric monk in several different sculpts. A draconic demon, gold variety. Golden Abashi of Metallica. Here we have a fallen bishop, again in 3 different versions. We have a holy serpent. Don't have to be evil just because you're a serpent. Here we have Monster Hunter Van Helsing, blessed by the Cathedral of Light. Here we have a possessed nun, so 3 different variations depending on what type of possession you may want her to have. Here we have an astral diva, celestial being from the astral planes. Here we have a plain tar female angel. Now, I do apologize for cutting off some of her wing there, but it's hard to get all of these images on the same slide. Inquisitor Knights. A captured witch. Again, 3 different versions of this, depending on how you want her to be captured. A white priest. Here we have a light dragon wormling. Again, 3 different sculpts. And then to finish off this update, we have what is called the true angel. So here is an angel as it is described in the Bible. Just kind of interesting to look at. Update number 2 is the Beast Hunt. And this is apparently, I'm going to mess up this name, the Demon Lord Inagu. He was summoned to the mortal realm and he brought his beast army with him. So we have a Jackalware female. 3 different sculpts. We have the Saber-Tooth Beast. Reminds me of, I forget what they're called, in Terry Goodkind's Wizard's First Rule series, The Sword of Truth. There's a critter that, a Mar Beast or Gar Beast or something, that reminds me of that creature for some reason. Here's an Orc Lady Adventurer. And they have a My Mini Factory campaign that has a bust of this character if you would like that. And here's the Warg Beast. Actually, maybe this is the one that reminds me more of that beast I was talking about. I don't know. Very similar creatures. Here we have a Beast Master. He goes hunting with a pack of wargs. You can see he's seems to be influenced by something in that middle picture. I may be wrong. Here we have a Hook Horror Classic. So it's kind of interesting to see the Hook Horror show up at least twice in 2 different Patreons this month. Head of a vulture, the body of a beetle. Never realized that, but yeah, I suppose so. Here we have a werewolf female. It says a woman that transformed into a werewolf, she sees her new powers as a gift rather than as a curse. I was a bit concerned on the left. I was like, is that a bust? But no, I think she's in a pool of water. So I think she's emerging from the pool. And then apparently this is the same character. This is the female werewolf armored. After getting used to her new abilities, she has joined the Adventurers Guild, and her powers make her a very fearsome warrior. She comes with no less than 4 sculpts here. And on the left, that almost looks like she is surfing on water, but that is like a tree branch. It's hard to tell from this angle. Here we have a hunting reptile. It camouflages itself. Pretty convincing camouflage, huh? Here we have a skull bear. Bugbear-like creature likes to hide its face behind a skull mask. Getting Zelda vibes with this. Here we have the Knoll Tribe. Now there's a bunch of these guys. So this is the Knoll Society. He's pointing with his pipe. I love the one with the pickaxe, the miner. He has been busy at work. And here's a couple more. Really like gnolls. Here we have a savage escapee, a beast man that was imprisoned because of his wild nature. And you can really see that with the poses here. I kind of get some anime vibe, but I have no idea what anime. This is why Epic Miniatures drives me crazy. They come up with some of the craziest ideas, and this is a wasp hive golem. Nobody needed this. Nobody needed this, but some wild, crazy mage is obsessed with wasps and bees and decided to do that. Oh, you need some wasp to go with your wasp hive golem? Epic Miniatures has you covered there as well. You didn't assume it was alone, did you? And then last but not least, we have the Beast Watch and the Tame Wolf. And that is 100 miniatures from Epic Miniatures. Next up, we have Highlands Miniatures. Highlands Miniatures is releasing Eternal Dynasties this month. There is their entire release in one picture. They do a really good job, I think, of showing you, hey, this is the artwork, this is our concept art, and here's what the miniature actually looks like. I believe this is the Eternal Prince, because I believe this one with the Ankh would be the Eternal Priest. Here we have some ancient guards. Now, I did not include all the pictures here because I didn't want this to run too long, but we have halberds that are pictured here, but there's also a sword variety as well. And then we have the command group that goes in the middle there, the drummer, the banner, and the leader. And that command group can be swapped out for either one. Here we have an ancient skeletal colossus. Colossi? His face, he's seen better days. Here we have an ancient stone thrower that comes with a crew of about 3. And here we have some Anubis guards with heavy bows, as well as some Anubis guards that have heavy weapons as well. Last but not least, we have some scarab swarms. There's only 2 of these, but these are different angles of the 2 that are included for the month. Pretty appropriate and scary. Next up, we have the Printing Goes Ever On, and I've been a backer of theirs for quite a while. And so I say this, but I do feel like they're kind of reaching the end of what they're doing, because it feels like they're starting to, hey, we've kind of printed, we've gotten most things released, let's go back and revisit some things. And it was very hard to find any good pictures. This is pretty much the only picture I could find of their current release, and it's Tales of the Elven Kingdoms Volume 1. On the right is a list, copied and pasted directly from their Patreon, of what they're releasing with these high elves. So if you're into elves, there are some great miniatures here. You can see some terrain pieces in the back as well with the High Elven Bridge. I'm really curious to see what the Brightwood Tree Tower is. Now, Printing Goes Ever On a few months ago started doing an RPG tier as well. And so you can actually get both of these together and it combined lower price for both on My Mini Factory, or on Patreon too, I imagine. But they have some various monsters, especially if you're going out into the forest, as well as some NPCs, some terrain, and scatter props as well. So this is the image they have released so far. I really like those trees. I really like the enchanted trees. Next up, we have STL Miniatures, and STL Miniatures always does some very fine detail work. I don't think they've really released anything new image-wise from the preview that they did back in June. And this is the Witch's Council set. So here we see the Witch's hut, and we can see a lot of the council up front. This hut does come in various layers, so you can take off different layers as needed in order to access and actually play with what you get. Another thing that they're doing is they work on, STL Miniatures likes to do similar to what Cyberforge and Titanforge sometimes do as well. They like to release miniatures for Miniature Agnostics Games. These are from their Frost City group. So on the left we have what's called an Acris bird, and on the right we have a Shadow Knight. Can't take him seriously because those look like glasses we would have worn back in the 80s and 90s. And then this fella is from their Ranger STLs for basically Rangers of Shadow Deep. And this is a flesh golem. Very detailed miniature. A scary detail, honestly. Here we have more of the Witch's Council that you can see, and we'll try to zoom in on a few of these. And before we leave STL Miniatures, I do want to mention they do have a Kickstarter right now. It says just launched, but it's been launched for a few days now. And it's Rangers. It's all basically like an unofficial set of miniatures designed to go with Rangers of Shadow Deep, which is a miniatures agnostic game. I do believe there's official miniatures released for that game, so this is not like officially part of that group, but if you're looking for miniatures that you can play with that or any other type of miniatures agnostic game, meaning a game that you don't have to buy their miniatures for to play, these you can't go wrong with these. The STL does a great job. Next up, we have Titanforge Miniatures. Now, they like to release miniatures based on wargaming as well as RPG as well. They have released some wizards, which these right here are not wizards. These are like their Chaos Warriors, sorry. So these are their Chaos Warrior characters. Various abominations and monsters of sorts. And then they released some wizards as well. So we see what seems to be some sort of all the elements elemental, as well as a wizard, and those two can apparently combine form, which is kind of scary. They also have some book mimics, as well as this characterful orangutan that is apparently intelligent enough to be a wizard. We see some various familiars, along with some hippogriff riders, and some various wizards as well. So if you haven't played a wizard character in a D&D campaign and you need a miniature, this might be the month for you. They also like to release in the RPGs some typical mortal enemies that your group may fight against. I really like these miniatures. And then they also like to release about 3 different player characters each month, and each of these come in 3 different varieties. So I just want to point those out here. As you can see, they have 3 slightly different sculpts depending on what your weapon choice may be, what exactly you're doing with your character. They also like to release various bases. These have trap doors and wooden planks. And they also do a throwback. This month is going to be the Barbarians throwback. So it says November, but that's because it was originally a November release. You're getting that back. Next up is Mantic Vault. This is new to my videos, but I think it's time we start including Mantics. This is Mantic Games. They are a big miniatures producer out of England, and they have started about a year ago doing miniature things in the vault. And one of those was, here's the big release for the whole month, and we're not going to do the sci-fi portion of it, but we do want to focus on the fantasy portion, and this all goes to Armada mostly this month. So here we have an Abyssal Dwarf Gunworm, as well as an Abyssal Dwarf Hellfane Battleship. And Armada, if you're not familiar with, is Mantic's Sea Battles game, for lack of a better term. So then you need some terrain for your ships as well. So here's the Fortune Rocks Island and some sandbanks. And we have a sea fort as well. So again, nice bits of terrain, small cannon emplacements that can go out there as well. And then apparently this is also part of Armada, is the Twilight Kin Gargoyles. So I guess this is a set of gargoyles that are maybe a flying unit, not sure. I haven't played Armada. I've heard good things about it though. Next up, we have one-page rules, and one-page rules has several different things going on this month. So first off, we'll start off with Age of Fantasy Quest. They've released an Undead Paladin as a PC rather, as a character for you to play in their Age of Fantasy Quest. This is a relatively new release from OPR that they're really pushing people to play and test. They have some forest scatter terrain, apparently 24 pieces that go into this. I really like these bushes. Again, this is all designed to be printed on resin. And then we have the Shadow Stalkers. So here's just the graphic that they use for this. I wanted to show you, this is the preview image that we saw in the July preview. And since then, they have released the July month, and so here's the current image. Just to show you that there is a little bit of variation as they preview and they hint at and they tease what they're going to release, and then they finally actually release it. I believe these are the Shadow Stalker Spectre Champions. I'm not 100% sure. It says you get 2 of them this month, and that's 2 different sculpts, so I'm not sure. These might be just variations on these guys, which I believe these are the Spectres. So these are Shadow Stalker Spectres. And I believe those are some more Spectres over on the right. On the left, I believe, are the Butchers. These are kind of bigger guys. They got an extra set of arms. They just look to be a little bit taller. And some more Spectres, I do believe. Excuse me, more Butchers, not Spectres. Then we have, they say you have to get 1 Terror Beast and 2 Spectre Champions. So I'm not sure which of these are what. I believe, of course, those are probably the Terror Beasts. And really, it looks like 1 Terror Beast, but 2 different riders. And I'm guessing that's the Spectre Champion. I'm not 100% sure. It could just be another Butcher. With the Shadow Stalkers, OPR always likes to give you a ruler, some objectives, and some dice, as well as some various bases as well. So anyway, there is the Fantasy July preview number 1. We may come back and look at this again, or I may just update with, hey, this is new, go check this out. But regardless, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back sooner than later, hopefully.